Welcome back. Welcome back. Our show brought to you by Bonefish Grill. The show, it's called Job Talk 1. Tommy Cairns and the coach. And of the two of us, I'm the one that probably you want to quarterback your team. But you want to have Tommy Cairns on your team because he's the real deal when it comes to workplace issues. He was the HR director for Homeland Security. 230,000 little minions reported to you. And prior to that, 19 years with NBC Studios running their HR department. So this segment of the show I'm excited about because our guest is Senior VP of Challenger, Gray, and Christmas. And they're one of the largest search firms, resume firms. Look, the bottom line is if you need a job, you're going to call them. If you just got fired, you need them. If your resume's all messed up, you need them. They'll also mentor you to do a better job getting a job and also do a mentor. Pete, we're going to bring Pete on Tzavalas here in a minute, but he should have been mentoring Trump and Clinton last night. Although we're not getting into politics. Yeah. No politics. Welcome to Southern California, Pete Tzavalas, ex-Kojak. Well, Kojak's not with us anymore, but you're a cousin of the famous, was it Tony Tzavalas?
Telly Tzavalas, yeah.
Telly Tzavalas. So did you ever meet him?
Yes, on a few occasions. When I was younger, the last time I saw him was actually he was living at the Sheraton Universal, and there was a auto auction going on, and I bumped into him. But that was the last time.
That's what I want to do. For some reason, I'm fascinated with hotel. I would like to just live my last 50 years in the Ritz-Carlton somewhere. So, Pete, let's get to it. Your company, give me a 30 elevator pitch at Challenger, Gray, and Christmas.
Well, Challenger, Gray, and Christmas is an outplacement company. In fact, our company founded our industry in 1966. Our founder, Jim Challenger, created what is called outplacement today. So when companies lay people off, instead of just giving them a cardboard box on a Friday afternoon, they give them our service, which is there to help them transition to their next opportunity. So we do things like their resumes for them, also train them on job search techniques and interviewing and all kind of the component parts of job search to get them to their next opportunity quicker. And, of course, their previous company pays for it.
And you're big, baby. You're big. That's what I like. And you also have an office out here in Santa Clarita. So let's get right to it. When somebody is looking for a job, you brought up the word resume, which I just have to share. And my audience has heard me say this before. I think it's just a bunch of malarkey. I mean, I've done resumes. I've looked at resumes. I don't believe resumes. Why can't we find another vehicle? Like, look, if you're interviewing me for a job and I showed up and I said, hey, Pete, just by the way, here's 4 Dodger tickets to the front row of Dodger Stadium. You're sitting right behind the third base dugout. That would mean more to you than giving you a stupid resume.
Hey, you know what? That's fine. You don't believe in resumes or don't like resumes, but try and get a job without one. So, since the dawn of time, I think resumes were probably put on stone tablets, and now they're on paper, they're electronic, and they're loaded into candidate tracking systems. And I get that, they might seem a bit archaic. You might not like them. I have another friend that hates them too, a guy named Hank Blank. He thinks they're horrible, but unfortunately, they are a necessary.
We know Hank Blank. So, question to you, and then Tommy has like 5,000 questions. These resumes, these software programs. So, if I put a word in there like Dodgers, and you're a Cub fan, you're going to knock the word Dodger. You're never going to see my resume because you hate the Dodgers. So tell me how somebody writing a resume overcomes these software programs to knock out words, phrases, or things that you don't want to look at.
Well, it's not as much they're going to knock you out for what's in there. They're going to knock you out for what's not in there. So I know at one point in my career before I completed my master's, I hadn't done it yet, but what I did on my resume, I included it, not lying, but then at the end of it in brackets, I put the pending date when it was going to be completed. So if someone said, hey, you must have a master's degree, it was there. I didn't lie about it. I showed when it was going to be completed, so that was in another year or so. So it wasn't going to get bumped out if master's was a requirement. Now, I didn't have it at that time, but I was in the process of getting it. So I haven't told folks that, say, if you're finishing up your bachelor's or your master's or whatever, if you're in that process, you should start listing it, but just make sure you put the end date when it's going to be. So in terms of a candidate tracking system, that might kick you out because the lack of that word or that thing, that must have, that they kind of program into their computer system that's looking for, it pulls you in. Because unfortunately, today, a lot of what's done in larger organizations isn't designed to filter people in. It's to take 10,000 resumes and filter them out till they get to the point where they have the 10 that they're going to present to the hiring manager.
And I think that's where I have the angst. We're talking to Pete Tzavalas. Pete's the Senior VP at Challenger Gray and Christmas, one of the largest outplacement agencies in the United States, with an office right here in Santa Clarita. So if you're looking to do better in your career, your job, and as Pete says, maybe clean up that resume so it doesn't get kicked out. So my last point, because Tommy's just chomping at the bit here. So there's so many great people that don't write great resumes, that when you meet them, you fall in love with them. They have a great background. I always like touching somebody personally. Look them in the eyes. I want to see how they shake hands. I want to see what their posture is. And here's what a resume can't answer. How are you going to make me a profit? Can you answer that question for me? So with that, I turn it over to Tommy Cairns with 5,000 questions.
All right. Well, thanks, Pete. There's a variety of different things that we could talk about, but the part of the outplacement, and maybe just spend a minute or two on this piece, because you get invited into an organization probably at the most emotional side of things that are happening to a person who's just lost their income, their job, their career, and they're probably very distraught at this time and angry.
Right.
Whole lot of emotions going on, and I know one of the things that you try to do is to help turn that around to get that person focused on something positive. But how do you deal? What's the time frame for being able to get through that emotional side, and then to try to turn the corner? You can't turn it probably too soon because they'll go back, or to the emotional piece again. But what do you do?
Well, let me back first, kind of paint the picture. Usually, we don't really sell to the public, so it's corporations. We're Fortune 1, like Walmart is a customer, but Fortune 1,000, but larger organizations. When you roll out the red carpet to bring someone in the organization, these are the kind of companies that are going to roll out the red carpet on the way out. They want to help their exiting employees. So, they've committed to helping their employees on the way out. Now, on the day that someone's notified, it's not an easy day. It's not easy for me. I've been doing this for 16 years, and I've been that guy twice. I learned about outplacement when I was laid off from Hughes Aircraft in 1991, and I've been there. But the nice thing for me is when I meet that person that's just been notified, I know what we do on the back end, and I know our statistics. So, for example, 92% of the time, our statistics say that our folks are going to get an equal or better job. And how long is that going to take them? Well, in our program, it's going to take them, the median time to landing is 3 months. So, and of course, mileage may vary because based on, what you make, the more you make, the longer it takes. But, I know when I meet with that person, if they engage with us, we're going to get them to their next organization, probably in half the time they can do it on their own, and they're going to get an equal or better paying job. So knowing that, when I have that conversation, gives me a lot of power in terms of, sharing what I'm about to share with them. And they've just had to, I kind of relate this to a car accident. It's almost like a horrible car accident, and they've got this terrible information, but instead of, not having anything to do, anywhere to go, they immediately have something to do because they're going to start working on the job of finding a job, working with us. We got to get their new resume going.
And then what type do you work at the executive level? Who can call Challenger Gray and Christmas? Who would you guys like to talk to?
Well, what put us on the map is senior executives. So when our founder, Jim Challenger, John, our current CEO's father, founded the organization, it was for the highest level executives, and that is what we're known for. I think what's lesser known is we do handle everything, mid-managers on up, lower-level folks. So,
Well, I'm lower level, and Tommy is definitely senior.
I don't know if we could help Tommy. We can help you all day long.
Oh, I love that. Pete Tzavalas is his name, ladies and gentlemen. He's the Senior VP at Challenger Gray and Christmas. They're America's largest outplacement agency. They've got several offices here in Southern California. So if you're listening to my voice, you have a relative, you have a cousin, an uncle, somebody that is challenged right now, these guys can help you, because I know, Pete, that you have a little bit of a mentoring program. And so let me shotgun some questions.
Sure.
Dress for success. Is that still a big deal? If somebody walks in a really cool looking suit, does that make a difference versus they walk in with something from, I don't know, from
Oregon Ducks?
Yeah, stop it, Tommy.
Well, I think that varies in this day and age, and I have a challenge based on the clients I go and visit, where in one organization, I literally might have to have a suit and tie, and if I'm seeing another one in the same day, granted, the jeans and the fancy shirt I'm wearing cost more than the suit and tie do, but I'm wearing jeans and a fancy shirt, because that's their culture. So, but wherever you're going to interview, you need to be, they always talk about that one level up from where you currently are. So you need to be going in that organization that you're interviewing with and looking the part, if not just a tad better. Now, if you walk into Google and these guys wear shorts and flip-flops and you wear a suit and tie, that's probably bad.
Yeah, when I see people in a suit today, I think they're out of work. I really do. I really do. Tommy,
well, not in New York or San Francisco.
No,
but
I know.
In Southern California, sure.
Yeah, yeah. Why are you wearing a suit and tie? What's the matter with you? Something's happened, right? Something's not good.
You kind of feel bad for them.
I know. It's
what's wrong? It must be a funeral or something.
Yeah, really. I think the same thing. Why are you wearing a suit and tie? Tommy's got a question for you.
I was going to say, at Homeland Security, we, as an agency, we were all in suit and ties, but the rest of the government were in business casual or casual. So it was kind of interesting to see. So you still find those distinctives as well. One of the things I'm familiar with, and I like what you said with the red carpet when you come in and the red carpet when you go out, and that is very important for the individual to recognize there's life after the job that they're in. And I would tell people at NBC when we'd have these kind of events that there is life after NBC, and most people, like you said, Pete, land on their feet, and they actually, in some places, actually do better than they did where they were. And sometimes that you're not pushing them out of the organization, but there are things that are happening.
Well, when you tell them to box up their desk, and then there's a guard at the door. The show's called Job Talk1. Great guest today. He'll be back many times. Challenger Gray and Christmas. He's the Senior VP. His name is Pete Tzavalas, and I'm the coach, Coach Ron Tunick. You can check me out anytime. Google my name, Coach Ron Tunick. And Tommy Cairns is here with us. So, Tommy, you've had to fire a lot of people.
We have.
And so what's an opening? So when somebody says, Mr. Cairns wants to see you, that's it, right?
That's
the kiss of death. Mr. Cairns wants to see you in his office at 4:30. When did you fire people? At the end of the day?
Well, you know what? It's sad, because
I hope it wasn't on Friday.
Well,
it's always on Friday.
I was going to say that's
no. I hate Fridays.
Yeah, no, you would try to avoid that, but that's unfortunately.
Why don't you fire people on a Tuesday?
Would occur, Tommy? Or a Monday, something like that.
So what would you say? What was your opening comment?
That it's well, I'd have a couple different things, but one of them is from the aspect of things are not working out.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Things are not working out. Maybe there's
better ways to say it, but...
you're done. As soon as you hear things aren't working out.
Well, you try to make it quick and short and sweet, and because obviously people aren't really listening to you. So, you're trying to get to that transitional piece.
At Challenger Gray and Christmas, do you guys coach employers on how to deliver the message? You're not wanted here anymore?
Absolutely, and we do a better job than Tom.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, that doesn't say much, right?
Yeah.
Not that it was bad. I mean, the thing is
things aren't working out, Pete.
well, let's look back at the Great Recession. So the light switch was flipped in 2008, and thousands upon thousands of people were laid off by no fault of their own. The economy did something we hadn't seen since the Great Recession. But now today, when I was laid off in '92, I think there was more of, and my dad, there was more of a stigma behind being unemployed and being laid off. And now there's far less, because, if you don't know somebody that has been laid off in your family or in your close, it was probably you. So many people have gone through this, and they've experienced it and understand that it's just part of doing business. And what's interesting is the economy has progressed and gotten better, certainly not at the rate we'd like it to. Layoffs haven't stopped because money is cheap, so there's a lot of mergers and acquisitions going on. So because of these redundancies created through mergers and acquisitions, the layoffs have still happened. Now, the nicer thing is your ability to land a new opportunity in a timelier manner is much greater today than it was in 2009, of course. But it's a part of doing business. Unfortunately, there's changes always in there, and I always look back. My daughter's 17, and she's going to be off to college soon. I think what we teach at Challenger, if it wasn't taught in high school, it sure as heck should be taught in college, because her statistical probability of getting laid off in her career is 100%, and she will probably have 14 jobs. So when you think back to my dad, he had 2. I've had 8. She'll probably have 14.
Wow.
It's just the rate at which things are changing in organizations, and me being at Challenger, almost a decade now, it's unheard of to be at one company for such a long time. And I've got folks here that with 20 and 30 years, but when you hear like, wow, you've been there 3 years, hey, old timer.
Yeah, no kidding. Pete Tzavalas is his name. The company's Challenger Gray and Christmas, America's largest outplacement agency. He's the senior VP. Can I draw you out? Because I know you're a very positive, inspirational person. Your daughter and your wife are lucky to have you. The question I have is about, and I've said this, I've been on radio 20 years now, and I do business coaching all the time. And one of the things that I talk about all the time is likability, that if your likability factor is very high, like you're very likable, so I could see why Challenger Gray and Christmas hired you. If you need me to come in there and negotiate some more pay for you, just call the coach and I'll do that. That's what I do. But talk about likability, because this is where I think our educational system, our parenting is broken down. I've always said if you're likable, we keep you, we promote you, your coworkers like you, they talk about you. So I think likability, people don't work on that, and it's not talked about. Take 1 minute, then I'm going to keep you over. We're going to have you come back for another segment. But talk about how important likability is in getting a job.
Well, in getting a job, so you have me and someone else that have all the same qualifications, and more often than not, there's probably 3 to 5 of those people that their resumes are sitting there. And just to get to the dance floor, you have to have the qualifications. The next thing is cultural fit. Do you fit in our organization? And part of that is likability. I know the story of this one gal she had put on her resume, just as a little, fun thing, was gym rat. And, when she went in for that interview, it said gym rat. What did they talk about? Working out for half an hour. Or there's, you went to this school or that school, or those little sort of things that you can kind of get on a conversation. So that's getting into the organization. But then when you're in the organization, when you talk about likability, there's a forgiveness. So if you're just not that likable of a person, you are not going to be forgiven for that trip, that misstep, and they'll blame it on you. Now, if you're really likable, there's a higher probability they're going to blame it on the environment and let that thing go based on how you interact with people inside the organization. And that's just like there's different words for it besides likability, but
Great comment. Great comment.
Yeah.
We got to take a break. We got a hard break coming up. Our show brought to you by Bonefish Grill. Tommy and I, our favorite place to eat. You're listening to the show called Job Talk 1. And if you were just listening, you just heard a great response to my question from Pete Tzavalas. He's the Senior VP at Challenger Gray and Christmas, the largest outplacement agency. They have one right here in Santa Clarita. So if you're looking to do better in your workplace.
We cover the globe.
The globe?
And Santa Clarita.
I'm not interested in the globe.
Definitely, if
Pete.
you're
I'm
in
only
Santa Clarita, you're covering the globe.
Yeah. How about Oregon, my favorite state? We'll be right back. And then when we come back, I'm going to ask Pete that one question that you sitting in your car listening to our show called Job Talk 1 would be embarrassed to ask him. So just stay tuned. We're going to take a quick little break. Our show brought to you by Lisa's Tax Service, Bonefish Grill, Superior Financial Service. We have so many sponsors. Anyway, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the show we call Job Talk 1. And I just have a long-time listener, Mary Ann, just dedicating the show to you, girl. Thanks for continuing listening and getting your texts. And Phil, Raymond, just got a shout to you. Thanks for all the nice things you say. And Coach Greg Herrick, and go on and on with all the people that just love our show. We just thank you from the bottom of our heart. So our very special guest we're going to have back, he's fun, he's smart, he's interesting, and he's entertaining, and he knows his business. He's the Senior VP at Challenger Gray and Christmas, not Hanukkah, but Challenger Gray and Christmas, America's largest outplacement. Why didn't you call the firm Challenger Gray and Hanukkah? That would have been more interesting than Christmas.
Well, that was a guy.
Oh, Jim Christmas.
That's a person.
Yeah, Jim Christmas.
He's a person. He exists.
Pete Tzavalas. So you are fun, brother. So the reason I'm in radio, so out in Santa Clarita we have a bunch of studios, and so I know a producer. I'm not going to get into the details. So I auditioned for a television show, and he took me aside, and he says to me one day, he says, Coach, I don't know how to say this, but you got to get rid of your gut.
I thought he was going to tell you really have a face for radio.
No, I'm very handsome. There's no issues there. But I got a little bit of a tummy, okay? And he said, this is not going to work, you know. But that's why I'm in radio, because you can't see my little tummy. So my question to you is physical. Now, be honest here. We have literally thousands and thousands of people listening to you, Peter Tzavalas of Challenger Gray and Christmas. Does body image, if you're a little overweight, if your hair is blonde, I mean, should you be a brunette? I always used to look at people's fingernails. I mean, all of this stuff adds up, because if their fingernails were dirty for some reason, I thought maybe the rest of their life was dirty.
Well, I mean, back to the. I mean, I'm
Oh, Justin just looked at his fingernails. Our producer just looked at his fingers. Your fingernails look great, and you're handsome, and he's well built. But go ahead, Pete. Go.
No. I'm fat, and there's no two ways around it. So, but things like that. I mean, and of course, I do my diet and exercise, or I attempt and I fail miserably. But when you talk about you're talking about grooming, and granted, I'm not going to lose 50 pounds if I'm interviewing next week. I'm not going to lose 50 pounds, but can I go get a haircut? Can I shave? Can I get my nails done? Can I make sure my suit that I'm wearing is pressed? Absolutely. So you can be polished and be like me and be borderline gigantic, but still be polished. So. Would it be better and more helpful if I lost 50 pounds? Absolutely.
I'll help you lose the 50 pounds. The show is called Job Talk. No, I will. I will help you lose the 50 pounds. The show, you're going to have to come back. We only have a minute left, but you are a great guest, and you shared a lot of good information. Challenger Gray and Christmas. Check them out on the website, Challenger Gray and Christmas, and our very special guest, Pete Tzavalas. So we'll see you down the road. We'll see you real soon. Pete, thanks for coming to Job Talk 1 today. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks
so, Tommy, great guest.
Yes, absolutely.
And a fun. You can just tell. I didn't want to say to him, but the reason he got hired is he's got a great personality. Mm-hmm. I mean, why would you not want to hire this guy?
Well, and you'd want somebody like him if you had lost your job to work with you.
Exactly. Yeah. So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We just love all the response that we get, the texts, and I send thank you notes out. We'll keep doing it if you like it. The show is called Job Talk 1, our flagship station heard all over the country on KHTS hometown station.com.